morning, good morning, good morning. Here we are at day number 11 already. Can you believe it? You have made it to day 11 of the 21-day comeback challenge. Listen, as of today, we are officially beyond halfway. We officially passed the halfway point, which means we only have 10 days left after today. That by the end of these next 10 days, you ought to have the beginnings of your comeback plan and your comeback strategy. All right. Listen, if you're on this morning, I want you to jump in the chat and let us know who you are. Say good morning, man. I want to speak to you. I want to see you. Let us know that you're here. Let us know that you are with us this morning for the 21-day comeback challenge. Also, I also want to challenge you if you are leading a team, if you're a part of a team, I want you to take a moment and I want to invite your team to come and be here with you. I want you to text the people who are part of your staff, the people who are part of your business, the people who are part of your ministry, your nonprofit, whoever they are, whatever they do. I want you to take a moment and I want you to invite them to come in. And the reason I want you to invite them to come in is because today we are dealing with excuses. We are dealing with excuses. And if you've got a team that you want to see move forward, you want to see them drive ahead today, this is going to be an opportunity for us to have a very pointed conversation around excuses, dealing with excuses, moving past excuses, and moving into the future, right? And I need you to act quickly because today, of course, it's Sunday morning. You got to go to church. I got to go to church. As a matter of fact, I've got an early morning service here at our church is going to be starting in 29 minutes. So that means in about 24 minutes, we are going to be all done with today's challenge. And so I want you to make sure you go ahead, invite your people to come, tag them on Facebook, send them the YouTube link, whatever you got to do. I want you to go ahead and get them in here so that they can come and hear what we are going to share. All right. So look at this. Today is day 11, and we are going to be talking about why your why has to be bigger than your excuses. Your why has to be bigger than your excuses. And so here's what we're talking about. And here's the gist of where we're going today is that if you have deep reasons for doing what you're doing, you can have deep commitment. Deep reasons, deep commitment. And that's what we're going to be talking about this morning. If you have deep reasons for doing it, you can have a deep level of commitment to it. And so we're going to make sure that your reasons are deep enough. Yesterday was a pretty long day for me, all of which I had an opportunity to work with three different teams yesterday, three different churches who are inside of our program. One of our churches, I popped on and did some training with them out of Brooklyn, New York, and we started walking through the why your team has to be locked in, why you've got to be focused. And we had some conversation to help each of them figure out in their unique roles why what they were doing was so important, so that they could understand that what they were doing was more than just filling a role. So we had that conversation. Then we popped down to another team's retreat down in Pensacola, Florida. Same thing, and we walked them through understanding Nehemiah's process and understanding where they fit in that process and the responsibility that they've got to carry as a team so that they can all be clear on where they're called to go and what they're called to do. And then last but not least, we circled on back around to one of our partner churches here in Birmingham, Alabama. And we work with this team, this congregation that is a mostly older congregation, and we're walking their leaders through how to lead that congregation well, to lead them forward, while also allowing the Easter season to be an opportunity to come alongside them. But the thing that was unique and the same, and the thread between all these churches was that we had to get clear on the why. If you don't get clear on why a person is doing a thing, they won't have clarity on what they're doing. What is too shallow? Stand on this door and usher. Take care of the kids. Lead the youth. Do follow up with people on Sunday. Do that's the what, and the what is too shallow. What they need is the why. They need to know why they're doing it. They need to know why it matters. And that's what we're going to be dealing with today. All right. So this morning, I've got a special guest. I am not here by myself this morning. I've got somebody who is near and dear to my heart and near and dear to the Simple Systems family. This young lady has been a part of our team in two different stints. She was our first ever staff person some years ago, probably about 5 or 6 years ago at this point, and she has now come back and is continuing to grow and is moving into increasing roles inside of our church. I want to introduce and welcome our director of client services, Joanna Gratero. Good morning, Joanna. How are you?
Good morning, Henry. Doing great. Happy to be here and grateful, just for this morning and this beautiful day. How about you? How about
Absolutely.
you?
Listen, you know me, man. I'm fired up. I'm excited. Everybody keeps asking me why I'm so excited and fired up in the morning. And I don't know. I'm really not excited about the morning. I'm excited about what we get to do and what we get to talk about. And so it gets me going and it gets me really excited. So before we jump in, Joanna, I just want you to talk a bit because, again, you're our longest tenured staff member, right? So you've been around Simple Systems
It's-
for as long as anybody. I want you for a second to just kind of reflect on what has it been like for you stepping into a role like this? I know you never worked with a church consultant and in a ministry setting and all those kind of things. Like, talk about what that's been like for you personally.
that it has been an interesting process all over these years. But it has also been deeply fulfilling on several different aspects of the work. I would say there have been a lot of changes in the perspective that I've had on a lot of things, including both the ministry and when it comes to what working on in a specific company looks like,
Mhm,
because over the different roles that I've had over the years, um, simple systems has always had a special place in my heart. Not only because it has been thanks to simple systems that I got other opportunities that I had the opportunity to grow with in the past. When we, let's say, when we had to stop to working together for a while the first time, it was thanks to simple systems that I was able to keep growing on my role at the time.
mhm,
And then that's something that I never forgot, and then the other thing is that how special it has felt, and I've told you this, but I see how hard you work all the time, just making sure that the team is taken care of, and that's
absolutely.
something that's deeply fulfilling on my part. I've seen the effect that the program has on the different pastors that we serve, and that has been just magnificent. Yeah, seeing that it's been magnificent, and it has allowed me to over time, um, when I've changed as a person, it has allowed me to have a place where I feel that I belong.
Mm,
And that's
yeah.
something that I didn't always feel that I would have with a company. Because
Mm,
one thing it's your home, and a very different thing is your work. But when you
it's true.
find a place where you feel like you are accepted and you are being pushed constantly to be better, and to understand that you're human, you're going to make mistakes, and that doesn't mean that people are going to give up on you. um, while you keep growing, you keep improving yourself. That's a very important thing, and that's something that I'm deeply grateful for. So I would say that it's been very very fulfilling on a number of different
That is
levels.
awesome. Man, listen, I love hearing that, and I'm so grateful for that. I tell our team, I said to our team a couple of weeks ago that I want Simple Systems to be a place that once people work with us, they never want to leave because of the impact of what we get to do and because of the development that comes along with it. And so that's exciting to hear. As Joanna shared, I want to say this to any builder out there, and this goes perfectly into what we're going to talk about today with just having a big why. If you're going to build, your why has to be big enough to support and encourage you to make the sacrifices that you need to make. I'm telling you, it's got to be that way. And she shares about some of those sacrifices, and I remember years ago I heard Bishop Jakes talk about this, and he would talk about, people would ask why he was always on the road and why he would accept so many speaking engagements, and he would say, sometimes I was doing that, it wasn't for me, it was so I could come back and pay our staff. It was so I could come back and take care of them. And the same has been true for us. There have been periods, and as Joanna shared, we worked together early, and then the business really went through a lull where it just wasn't generating, pastors would sign up and then not pay, and then they would leave the program, and it was so much instability that I had to say to her for a while, like, hey, look, I need you to go and do something else for a season. I said, I'm gonna come back for you at some point. I want you to come back, but right now things are just not working that way. And but when we came back around this second time, things had really stabilized and things of that nature. But by then, I had also grown personally as a leader and as a speaker and as a teacher to the point where I was traveling and I was going on trips and I was going to do consulting, I was going to do speaking and all those kind of things like that. And literally, I would just take those honorariums and come back and be like, all right, staff is covered this week. Let's go. Right. and, but that's a part of the sacrifice. And I'm not mad about it. I don't feel any kind of way about it. As a matter of fact, I'm excited about it. The same way I am for providing for my family because I know what the end is going to be. I know what it's going to turn into, and we're starting to see that. So thank you for sharing that, Joanna. All right, so let me jump into the passage. Nehemiah chapter 2, verses 17 and 18. And here we go. Paper Bible save. Y'all see me. Let's go. Look at what it says. It says, "But now I said to them, you know very well the trouble we are in. Jerusalem lies in ruins, and its gates have been destroyed by fire. Let us rebuild the wall of Jerusalem and end this disgrace." Then I told them about how the gracious hand of God had been on me and about my connection with the king. All right, so I love this. So in this passage right here, Nehemiah is starting to reveal his deep commitment. And when he comes to getting ready to rebuild, he says to the people, like, hey, look, here's what the stakes are. Here's what's so important. That first question in your workbook, it says, what reasons does Nehemiah give to give the people for rebuilding? And when you look in there, he starts by saying, hey, look, let's end this disgrace. And he says, man, look, this is not who we are. This is not who we're called to be. We are the people of God. How we down here living in ruins and don't have, the basic, protection and peace that we need. He said, this is not who we are. We've got to step into this and we have got to do what we're called to do, because if we don't do something about this, if we don't step up and change things, if we don't take action, then we are not going to just get better. It's going to keep getting worse. He says that if we don't do something, and some of you are in that spot where you've come to a point where you're saying, look, I got to do something. And you've got to step into something and you've got to pull something together. And you've got to make sure that everything that's in you is moving towards helping you build something different. If you don't, 2026 is not going to just be another year like last year. Things will get worse because the culture is getting more challenging. Things are shifting. There are so many things that are rising at once. We see this political divide is widening. We see this economic divide is widening. We see the rise of AI and automation. So that's going to start to replace people. It's going to start to replace jobs and replace ideas, and all these things are happening. And so we cannot afford to sit still and stay where we are. And so just like Nehemiah said to them, we've got to stand up now and we've got to end this disgrace. We got to rise up now. We've got to end this disgrace. We've got to step up now and we've got to do something different. All right. Look at this, Joanna. I want to go into that second question. When you think about a comeback, sometimes I know excuses and fear can be the things that pop up into our minds first, right? And I want to ask you, when you think about making progress in your own life, number one, what are the excuses and fears that try to pop up? But then what's that bigger why that comes in to take over and encourage you to push forward?
So I think that one of the first fears that I usually encounter, and I know that a lot of people encounter this, is the fear of what if things don't work out? What
Mm,
if I'm not up to the challenge, you know? What if I'm trying to do something that's bigger than me as an individual?
mm,
Um, how do I make sure that I'm strong enough to withstand what is necessary in order to get where I want to get? And I think that
that's good.
this comes a lot from the fact that we are usually not given permission to fail, or we're usually not given even by ourselves. We usually don't give ourselves the permission to fail. And when I say fail, I see it not as a permanent fail, but as a temporary
Mhm.
one. We don't allow ourselves to even think that we could go through setbacks. And the fact is that if we cannot see ourselves overcoming the challenges that we may encounter on the road, then we are never going to take actual action into trying to overcoming those challenges, right? If I say no, but what if I fail? What people are going to say about me? Um, what will people think about me? I've put myself out there as a person that it's a leader, that can guide other people. So other people are expecting that I am the one who doesn't fail. But the fact is that we all fail except for God, right? So
Mhm.
and
Absolutely.
we need to give ourselves the permission um to challenge objections, to challenge, just things that we can encounter in our way, because there are no going to be other experiences that we are going to learn as much from as the challenges that we encounter. Those are going to
Mm.
be the deep lessons that are going to allow us to really improve over time, I would say.
Mm. Mm.
So that's the first fear that comes personally to my mind. And I know that a lot of people go through that as well. One of the main things that people try to avoid is pain. But
Mhm.
that pain can also be what fuels you into change. Because there
Yes.
is that, just as you were mentioning before, if you don't do anything to change your situation, it's not going to change, which means that whatever is paining you right now, whatever it's making you feel pain at this point in your life, it's also not going to change. So
Man,
in order to overcome that pain, you need to go through the pain of change, and it's
gotta
also
go
a
through it.
process on its own. Yes.
Man, that is so good, man. Listen, y'all can see why Joanna's a part of the secret sauce around here. Like, so, because it's so true. And I love what you said. Sometimes in my experience, Joanna, and you know this as well as I do, is that, originally Joanna began as our appointment setter. And so she was just setting appointments and that was it. And then when she came back this time around, she had grown and there was so much that she knew she understood, and so she shifted to our client services. So that's why if you go in the chat, you see all the people shouting out Joanna because when they have a problem, she's the one who typically solves it. She's the one. And me and Latoya are kind of like, hey, look, we're here. We got your back type of deal. But a lot of times it's her. And I think you've seen this too, Joanna. A lot of times, man, we've had people who have been following us and been on our email list and been coming to our events and coming to our YouTube channel for 3, 4 years, but it's not until the pain is great enough that they actually make the step of action. And then once they do, they're kind of like, I cannot believe I waited this long. If I would have known, I was like, well, we tried to tell you. Like, we tried to say, like, hey, you don't have to do this. Like, we've kind of taken all the guesswork out of this for you. Like, we put it in front of you. But we see it takes many times as people, we don't take action until it hurts enough. We have to suffer enough pain to where we say, look, enough is enough. And until people come to that point, sometimes it's hard for them to make that step. But Nehemiah does it, right? He gets them to come along. And here's where I want to go because we've got to get ready to close out in a few minutes. I want to jump to that fourth question because Nehemiah, and this is going to be our action for today, is to write a because statement. I am committed to this comeback because blank, 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 blank. Nehemiah is he lays out to them, hey, look, here's why we got to do this. In verse 18, it sums it up. It says, then I told them about how the gracious hand of God had been on me. And really what he was talking about is my brother came and told me and gave me, made me aware. I cried out and went before God, and I remembered his promises. Me and God got on the same page. I went before the king. The king gave me permission to leave and to come. I asked the king for materials. He gave me materials. I asked the king for protection. He sent a guard with me. And then I came here last night. I walked the walls in darkness. And when I walked the walls in darkness, I saw it. And I have a plan. I have a strategy for how to do this and for how to make this work. And Nehemiah lines it up. And he says, the reason that I am sure that what we're about to do is going to work because of every moment God kept us that just led up to this moment. And he begins to say, okay, this is why I believe. I believe this comeback is possible because blank. So for you, Joanna, if you had to write your own because statement, I believe in this because, I believe we can do this because, like, what would that statement be for you?
So, personally, I think that that statement um, has never been specifically about myself. I think
Mm-hmm.
that everything that I've done has always been, or well, not always. Of course, there are things in my life that I've sometimes done for myself. But I feel like my biggest motivation it's to it's for the future of me and my family. So, and not only my family, but also people around me. Like I feel like I try to do things for other people in the sense of well, first, what you were mentioning about this question, it reminds me of a saying that I heard a while ago that says pretty much, um, life will give you everything you ask of it. But sometimes we're scared to ask that of life. You know,
Mm,
we sometimes we're scared of asking that of God, or we think that because we're asking for it, we're going to be handed that on a silver plate. And,
that is not
and
true.
you know, asking for things means that you will have to work for them, right?
Yep.
And personally, in my life right now, in the situation that I'm in, you know, like with my work and studying the careers that I'm studying, it's been crazy. You need to have a strong motivation to just think, okay, I know that I can overcome everything. I know that I can just take one day at a time, and that tomorrow I'm going to look back and say it was worth it. All of this work was worth it, you know. Um, when it comes to my family, it's because I want to take care of my family. I want to be able to take care of my family. It's not a responsibility that it's put solely on myself, but it's something that I want to do because I feel like my family deserves it. And that
Yes.
includes my husband, that includes my parents, that includes, you know, I think of constantly saying, okay, how can I make sure that they are taken care of? How can I make sure that we are safe, especially in a time of uncertainty as nowadays is, you know? So my
Yes.
family it's a big motivation for me. But on the other hand, I also think, what can I do that will benefit my community? What can I
Mm,
do that will just help other people? You know, because I personally feel like if I have a way of helping other people that will not harm myself, then I have the moral responsibility to help other people, you know?
mm,
So and a lot of and the thing is that there are a lot of ways of helping people. And I don't mention this as much, but I'm actually an EMT. I graduated originally as an EMT. And I said, I want to do this because I want to help people. I want to be able to save people. And even if I'm not recognized, because EMT are usually not recognized after the day, um, I want to be able to get there, help people, and leave and just go to the next one, you know. But back then, somebody at my church actually told me, but not everybody can be an EMT. You know,
mm,
not everybody has to be an EMT. So I then understood that there are a lot of ways in which we can help other people, we can help our community, we can help others, you know. But
mm.
it's important that we think about it. What am I doing in my role today that it's allowing me to, in the long term, help people, truly help people, and help the ones in my community as well. So that's why I've mentioned before, and you have seen this, that
Mhm.
I'm in roles that allow me to just feel fulfilled in that
Be fulfilled.
sense.
Man, that's
Um,
such maturity, though. I think so many people miss that. You know, we chase the stuff that gives us the most notoriety and sometimes the stuff that even pays us the most money. And what we miss is that, man, fulfillment is so valuable. And I was just sharing with you before this that, man, how exhausted I felt yesterday. Like yesterday was a long day. This week was a long week, and I really did. I burned the candle at both ends this week, and I don't normally allow myself to do that, but it's the start of the year, and there's so many things that we're trying to do and catch up on, and I just found myself just being like just exhausted, But here I am another day because I did rest. Number one, I took a Advil PM and I slept as long as I could. But it's fulfillment. It's that, man, I'm doing something that makes a difference. And that's what I want to challenge you all to do. All right. As we close out today, I want to challenge you to write your own because statement. Why do you do this? For me, I do this because overlooked leaders deserve tools that work. I do this because small churches matter to God. I do this because somebody has to fight for the people that nobody else is serving. That's one of the things that Joanna was there with me as we walked through a transition where we started to lean more towards serving smaller churches and smaller businesses because I know conventional wisdom says all the money is in the big. It's in the big churches, it's in the big businesses. But when we looked out at the landscape, what we discovered is that there aren't a lot of people serving the little guys, serving the churches with 20, 30 people in it, serving the businesses that are like, man, look, I got an idea but I don't have any clients. I was talking to a counselor just yesterday, and she said, well, we just started this counseling business. I got 2 students right now, so I'm trying to figure out how to blah blah blah. And so I'm like, oh, okay, cool. And so they're in the business systems in a box program now, or coming into it. And I was like, hey, look, we're gonna hook you up. We're gonna help you. Like, we'll make this work for you, type of deal. And so it's one of those things where we've got to find that thing that works for us. So here's what I want you to do. I want you to write your statements today. I am committed to this comeback because, and I want you to write 5 reasons, and they need to be personal. Don't give me cookie cutter. Give me things that are personal, that are powerful, maybe even painful. I want you to give me 5 statements that fit you and are locked into who you are. All right. Listen, we've got to close out, but in the chat, I just put the link. If you need some help growing your church, you can take a look at our Church Systems in a Box program. It's the perfect starting point. We are using Easter as a springboard. We are now up to 25 churches relaunching on Easter Sunday, and you can be added to that number. We are helping, not only giving you the tools to do it, but we are training your team. As a matter of fact, this coming Thursday, my wife Latoya and Joanna are going to be hosting a coaching call just for your team members, not for you, Pastor, but for your team. And your team members can get on that coaching call, and on that coaching call, they're going to help your team begin to implement all the things that we are teaching. And so they're going to walk them through it. If you need some help for your business, we just opened up Business Systems in a Box. I also put that link in the chat. We go live on February 1st, but we are doing a special founders offer for our first 10 businesses that sign up and join up, and you're going to get some special bonuses, some extra care. We're going to help tell your story. We're going to help promote your business. We're going to help put you out there as we help build it. We're going to build you up, and then we're going to help announce you to the world. But it's only for the first 10 who join. All right. Listen, Joanna, thank you so much for being here. And y'all don't worry, Joanna's coming back. She'll be back this week. And so we'll have another opportunity with Joanna where we'll get to sit and talk for a good while and not be rushed, and we can take our time. But I am so excited about just what you've added to us, and how amazing it's been to have you here. And I'm excited about where this thing is going. I'm telling you, I've been saying for years, Joanna's gonna run this company in just a little while, and I'm just gonna be here for the ride, and I'm excited about it. All right. Listen, I hope you have an absolute great Sunday. If you want some help, take action. If your why is big enough, take action. Like, if you're serious about where you're headed, take action so that we can help you move from where you are to where God has called you to be. All right. Listen, we love you. We appreciate you. And until next time, keep the gears turning. Peace.